Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Week 1 is in the books for the NFL. We had games on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday to get things started for the upcoming season, and they did not disappoint.
Today, we want to cover a few of the biggest games with some of the major headlines from opening week of the 2024 NFL season. I'm Brendan, ready for a Chiefs three-peat.
And I'm Corey, optimistic Titan fan, and this is our view from the bench.
Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us, come on! It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think. It's football time again, my friend. It is football time again.
We made it.
Yeah, week 1 of the NFL is in the books. Now, we're already through week 1 of the NFL, and college obviously starts a little before that. We will be covering some headlines from college football, but there's just been so much going on with our fantasy football team. If you haven't checked out those episodes, go check it out. We got a little mini series going on called the Fantasy Football Blueprint, where we help our friend Nando, who's a rookie, try to win a fantasy team. And now all of a sudden we're already into week 1 headlines, and week 2 starts tomorrow with the freaking Bills Dolphins. So we had to jump into some NFL headlines. We promised we'll hit some college ones, but we had to jump into the NFL. So, Corey, did you enjoy? Okay, before we get into the actual headlines, I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, so we won't dig too deep. But your team was ready to start off with a win, and then they didn't.
Yeah, I actually, when I saw the score early, I was like, oh, cool, 17-0. Like, all right, we're probably going to get a win. Like, that's not bad. I didn't expect to necessarily
start the season like that, yeah.
But I'll take a road win to start it. And then I saw the final score was 24-17. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we'll break into that in a little bit, but I didn't, my team lost as well. Another game that we're going to touch on briefly. So before we get any further, let's just jump into it, right? We're going to kind of go a little bit of chronological order in the sense that we're going to start with the Thursday night game. Ravens-Chiefs in Arrowhead. Chiefs took that one by a touchdown, just like they did. Did they win the other one? Was it 17-10?
Yeah, I think that was the final score.
Right? Okay, so just each scored 10 more points than the AFC Championship game last year. But I mean, it was a decent game. Mostly everybody was talking about the referees afterwards, though. Did you see a problem?
No, not to be. I know there's always talk of like the offensive line jumping too early, but like I don't know, it's kind of a hit or miss. They don't call it a lot. There's multiple games I've seen and watched in the past where they're definitely jumping full start and they're not calling it. So
yeah,
group to group, ref to ref will vary on that kind of stuff. So I don't think that's a huge deal. I think Ravens and Chiefs did. I mean, we're talking about possibly another AFC title game matchup of them this year, just because they're both so good on paper. Besides likely not making that catch in the end zone by a toe.
Yeah, I mean, he made the catch, technically.
But not officially a catch because he stepped out. It's kind of like KD against when the Nets played Milwaukee in the playoffs that one year. It was like his shoe was just a little too long. And
that's a great comparison. Yeah,
it's the same thing. So it's just a bad luck, bad bounce. But it's only 1 week, and I mean, Kansas City lost week 1 last year and still did what they did. So
won the Super Bowl.
It's 1 week. It's not a huge deal. I don't think Baltimore needs to get like all worried. I mean, they were right there away from tying it to go to overtime. So it's not like they get beat bad.
Yeah, agree. And you're on the road. Chiefs are coming off a Super Bowl win. They're raising the banners. Everybody's lit. Everybody's ready. I think they were camping out, tailgating 2 days before or some shit like that. They were parked at the entrance just waiting and stuff. Chiefs fans are crazy, bro. I mean, NFL fans in general are crazy, but Chiefs fans are crazy.
Yeah, but also, if you think about it, too, the Chiefs lost last year in the season opener as the defending champ. So they probably went in there thinking, like, we're not going to lay an egg this year like we did last year. Let's start better and get off to a good start from the get-go, and I think that's what they did.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I think I agree. To me, it didn't seem that lopsided. In my opinion, everybody just hates on continued success.
Yep.
Nobody really minds people being successful in America. We do like underdog stories. But for some reason, unless it's their own team, continued or sustained success is the worst thing in the world, right?
Yep.
Everyone hated Tom Brady. Everyone hated LeBron James. Everyone hates now, Patrick Mahomes, and it's just sustained success. So people could blame the refs. And are there missed calls? Yes. People are human. But Jawan Taylor led the league last year in penalties against a player with like 17 false starts. Okay. Wow. So it's not like they don't call Jawan Taylor for a false start. He false started a lot. Now, if you want to say they didn't call him for the illegal formation that they constantly call on the Ravens, sure, I guess maybe. I wasn't paying attention that closely. but I believe the actual calls by number and by yards were almost identical. So you could say what you want about the timing of the refs and this and that, and how they're the best player of the Chiefs that game was the referees. But I just think it's people hating. So I think that was the biggest storyline. But really, Chiefs, like I said in my beginning, on their way and primed, ready for a three-peat. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they are, and I'm with you because the sustained success thing, you're totally right. Like, as a Laker fan in the 2000 three-peat that we had, it was awesome. Everybody else in the NBA fans, they hated it. And as a fan of the sports and the historic side of things, like, I don't like the Chiefs necessarily. I'm not like a fan of them, but like seeing them win 2 in a row, maybe 3 in a row, like that's cool to watch the historic stuff happen. Like, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I was definitely rooting them for going 19-0 that year until they blew it. Like, that would have been cool to see the historic things happen. So
yeah, I agree. And and me, as you guys know, if you don't know, you're new to this show, I love dynasties. So anytime I'm a Chiefs fan, that's why I'm not actually a Chiefs fan, but like I'm rooting for them because I love dynasties. I don't know what it is. So, but moving on. Next was a Friday game, which is really rare, especially at the beginning. Sometimes they started Friday games, I think, last year around Christmas and New Year's and crap like that. They might have had a Friday and a Saturday, but Friday game. This one was in Sao Paulo. First time a game of the NFL is being played in Brazil. Possibly the last. Jordan Love got hurt really bad and is going to miss a couple weeks. That was pretty much it. Eagles looked like the Eagles. Saquon dropping 3 touchdowns in his debut. A.J. Brown doing what he does best. But yeah, I mean, just not enough on the Packers side. I know they were driving towards the end and didn't quite make it to win the game. Eagles win 34-29. All I really got out of it was Saquon looks like Saquon and Love got hurt. What are you?
Not only Saquon looks like Saquon, he's able to play football when he has a real offensive line in front of him.
True.
The biggest thing out of that is Eagles' offensive line made holes for him, and he was able to actually take advantage of that, unlike the years he was in New York where he was. We looked up a stat. We did an episode about it during the offseason, how the New York Giants, when he gets the ball to start on a play or a run play, they're already like a half a yard or so back, but the Eagles' offensive line is so much better. He's going to get so much more room to work with and bigger holes that we got to see that beginning. Now, as far as the Brazil part of it, the NFL is just going to keep trying different places no matter what the fans want or say or do. So whatever gets them money, that's all that matters.
True. As a quick side note to what you're talking about with Saquon, his 2023 yards per carry with the Giants was 3.9. And I get it's only one game, but he's already up to 4.5 yards a carry with the Eagles. He's already getting almost an extra yard alone just because he's on a different team. Like
Eagles make a big difference. I mean, that's the tush push work.
Imagine if they had freaking sorry to cut you off. Imagine if they had Kelsey still.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the tush push, even without him or with him last year, that play was unstoppable. That's because the offensive line is so good and able to push it forward. So that Saquon's going to have a great year as long as he can stay healthy.
Yep, agree. Next, we'll keep it in the state of Pennsylvania. Let's talk about the other team from there. Steelers went down to Atlanta, put a hurting on debut of Kirk Cousins down there. Bijan looking decent. Kyle Pitts caught a touchdown for the first time like freaking ever, damn near. So that's kind of nice. That was kind of it. I mean, the crazy part to me was really the Steelers in the sense that like Justin Fields looked decent, I guess. I mean, he didn't look bad, right? And then the other part on top of that was like the defense. They're just so good, bro. Like Watt and company are just insane. Like Cousins had no time. It was a good game. It was on TV. It was televised here in Southern California as the morning Fox game. So because the Falcons were home. So it's decent. I watched some of it, but it's just, I don't know. It's okay. 18-10, weird final. Falcons lose, kind of figures. The sucky part for the Falcons is they play on Monday night this week.
Oh,
that's Kirk Cousins' least favorite night to play besides Sunday night. And
yikes.
So what'd you see from this one, if anything?
I saw that Kirk Cousins is not himself. He looks old and slow, and the whole reason they brought him in was to go off the play action, and he can't run enough to make it even look like they can do play action very often.
I think he was hesitant because it's such a crazy defense the first week, and it's his first time off of that injury.
It's possible, but I also feel like maybe them drafting Penix, there's something more to his injury than we'd realize, and they're not telling us. Like, they signed Cousins expecting him to be ready, and by the time they got to the draft, maybe they realized, like, ooh, we actually, he's not going to be as ready as we think he is, or what if he's not? We need to have a backup plan. So maybe that's where the draft pick comes into place. So maybe that's not as crazy as it looked at the time say in 2 or 3 weeks when they decide that maybe Cousins just doesn't have it or he's not physically able to continue and they have to go to Penix and go to the kid. I don't know.
It's a good point. Yeah, and it could very well be true. If that is the case, or maybe they kind of saw like, oh, well, I don't know if why didn't they draft a fucking lineman to protect Kirk Cousins then instead of just a backup when he gets hurt? I don't know who was available. I don't remember who was available at 8 or 9. I think that is when they took Penix, but yeah, I don't know. I see your point. That could be it. Last point, which I think is so crazy. Bengals lost 0-1. Ravens, we already talked about, lost 0-1. Browns lost 0-1. We'll talk about that game in a second. Steelers, the only undefeated team in their division, also the only team in the entire division to not score a touchdown in week 1. 6 field goals for Chris Boswell, who is now on our fantasy team, by the way. And that's that's pretty much it. So kind of funny. Leading the division, 0 touchdowns so far scored on the season.
And just like a Justin Fields team last year on the Bears, not a lot of touchdowns. So
very true. Very true. Next, Cardinals, Bills. My team, hey, honestly, dude, they looked a little bit better than I thought going into Buffalo. Now, I know they lost a couple receivers, but that's pretty much all they lost and some old guys on defense. So to me, I was kind of expecting maybe not a blowout, but like a solid, 30 to the teens kind of thing. But a 34-28 final, and actually the Cardinals were driving towards the end to try to tie it or take the lead. Obviously, being down by 6, all they need is a field goal to take the lead. And I did see this like weird angle was released on Sunday where Marvin Harrison Jr. kind of has like a double move on the outside, and he kind of burns the corner, and the safety's nowhere to be seen, and he's basically wide open for a touchdown in the corner.
Like waving, right? He's like,
he's like waving his hand like, dude, see me. And I was kind of irritated when I first saw it, like, Kyler, literally, how do you miss this? Maybe if you weren't 4 feet tall, you would have been able to see it. But I did see a little bit of a video from Dan Orlovsky. I follow him because I like the way he breaks stuff down. He takes stuff that, you don't really consider. Obviously, I don't know much about football. I didn't play it much, but I try to learn from great minds like that. May not have been a great player, but a great mind, right? And the way he was kind of breaking it down, he did, the reversing, kind of showing here, where's a corner here, where's Kyler looking here. It was going to be damn near impossible. That's like a Patrick Mahomes 1 of 1. Even Patrick would have a hard time really getting it to that placement because by the time he saw it and was able to position him, both the safety and the corner saw that they missed Marvin Harrison and were making his way back to him. So it's kind of this weird one. But my question to you is, are the Bills in trouble by barely getting past Cardinals?
Dude, the Bills are in huge trouble, even if they hadn't gotten past the Cardinals that easily, or that hard, I should say. If they even won by 20 or 25, I still don't think the Bills are very good. They lost a lot of pieces in the offseason. They basically are like, Josh Allen, it's your team. Let's see what we can do with the wide receivers we have that don't have a lot of experience. So I don't know what to expect from Buffalo in general this year. So for them to like struggle against Arizona, it's not actually that big of
pretty good for us, right?
Yeah, great for the Cardinals, and really not that big of a shock. Because again, week 1 is so weird. You never know like who's really healthy coming in or who played in the preseason, and that's finally going to get their reps in now when it counts.
Yeah.
Like it's just a week 1. Like a lot of people, if you do like those suicide or survivor pools, a lot of people took Cincinnati over the bank or the.
That's an easy one, you'd think.
And like most leagues, like 40% of the people are now out because of the upset. Like it's week 1. You can't. Week 1 is just so bizarre. You just never know. Really week to week in the NFL, but week 1 especially because you just don't know who's going to do what.
So much up in the air.
You don't see anybody play in the preseason, so you don't. And even if they do, it's very vanilla, basic like concepts and offenses because it's a lot of backup guys just trying to make the team. So now that we're in the full force of a season, like you're going to see a lot of different things you haven't, and that's when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. Next, your team, my friend, Titans Bears. I know we touched on it a little bit. It looked good at the beginning, 17-0. Let me drop a little bit of stats before we let you go off because it's your team a little bit.
So
149 total yards of offense for the Bears. Absolutely 0 offensive touchdowns. They literally scored 24 points with defense. Well, 3 touchdowns and then obviously a field goal. I'm sure that the offense led them to that range. It started off good. Caleb didn't do much.
No.
Are you mad at the Titans for blowing it? Are you giving props to the Bears for coming back? Where are you here?
No, I'm mad the Titans blew it because really, like, if you get a 17-0 lead on the road against a rookie quarterback who, like I said, he didn't even have 100 passing yards. Like, he didn't have a good day at all.
No.
So you give up they get a block punt, so that sets them up with great field goal position. That sucked. And then the interception throw by Will Levis, like I get it, man.
What was that throw, dude?
Well, he's trying to just force it. That's what he's trying to make a play out of nothing. And instead of just taking the sack and letting the clock run, he does this, kind of half-ass, like, oh, right before I fall, I'm just going to flip it in the air. And that's just asking for disaster. And they pick it off and run it back, and they get the 2-point conversion, and that's the game. Like that is what it is. If we don't give up that interception, pick six, they might win the 17-16 win, and that might not be great, but it's a better than a loss.
Yeah. For comparison here, I didn't watch this game, but I saw a couple things. The first one was this. Not necessarily in sequential order of time, but the first biggest thing that I saw was the Will Levis meme where he tosses it terribly and then just sits on his knees like, shit, what did I just do? As he's watching him return it for a freaking pick six. But comparatively, and this is your point, what I'm talking about. Now, I get he was only a couple games last year, but he's technically been in the NFL now for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
By comparison, now, while he thought he was going to do something really cool that he did in college, Caleb Williams thought he was going to outrun the defensive lineman like he used to do. And then realized, oh, shit, this is the NFL. That's not going to happen. But you know what he did instead? Take a 20-yard loss on a sack instead of throw the ball like a moron, right? Those are the types of things where it's like, bro, I get that he's like the number 1 overall pick and all this kind of stuff, but that's literally his first fucking game. You've at least been here a couple times, and that was what you thought was a good idea?
Yeah, and it wasn't even that Levis like tried to throw it out of bounds, and the guy he tried to throw it to the wide receiver that was coming back towards the line of scrimmage, and just happened to lob it up in the air for the Bears defender to just walk in and grab it. But he, like you said, he's young, he's still learning. It is a new offense, a new coaching staff this year, so there's a lot of new pieces there. There's so many weapons with Hopkins, and now you have what's the guy, Calvin Ridley, and Spires and Pollard. Like there's things there to be really good offensively with. I know the defense is going to be a project, but the offense I think can be much better. But also maybe the Bears defense was that good last year, and we saw that maybe they're took advantage of a young quarterback. Maybe next week I don't even know who the Titans play next week, but I hope they bounce back because that was a really rough loss.
Yeah, it didn't look good. That's for damn sure. Well, hopefully they come back. You play the Jets at home. That's not going to be great.
That's not good. Man, we could be 0-2 real fast. Yes.
After that, you host the Packers.
I mean, then
you go to Miami. Ouch, bro! You got a fucking rough start, dude.
One positive is the Jets played on Monday night, so they have one less day.
Packers, I don't have Jordan Love.
Old quarterback, he's already old. So.
Who do the? Oh my gosh, Malik. What's his last name?
He's gonna come back to bite us. Oh my god,
bro! He's coming to Tennessee in 2 weeks, bro. They're gonna beat the shit out of you guys. Yeah,
we're gonna be 0-3. Okay, cool. I'm ready for it. That's fine. I knew we were gonna be bad this year, so it's fine. There's no back in the college rank that I'm like, yeah, go get that guy number 1. So
true.
Could be a long run here in Tennessee,
yeah,
but that's
true. Wow, we're here for it, man. I got your back. Don't worry.
Okay.
What was this? Oh, we have some breaking. We have a developing story. Let's head to that. We got that going on. What's going on? Before we get into the rest of the episode, we will break down a couple more games for you. We do have an update, though, on our fantasy team.
My fantasy team.
If you're not following already, if you're not following that series, we do have one. It's called Fantasy Football Blueprint. Go check it out. We have one. The most recent episode was one, and we have introduction to the fantasy thing, previous episode before that. You know that we're kind of in the middle of the waiver wires, so we're kind of here to see what we got. We got a couple other picks that we might see what's available, and really show you our week 2 matchup. So, Nando, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again on our fantasy team, of course.
My fantasy team.
All right, so we put some waiver wires in. We had a bunch. We were going for a couple of the big ones, the Jordan Masons and the J.K. Dobbins, who had some like pretty big weeks this week. We didn't quite get them all. We'll show you on the screen what we did get. It shows you the acquisitions that we have here. We got the kicker we wanted. I'll make sure we got Chris Boswell now because they just could be kicking all the time. We took that Chicago defense as a backup. Maybe he'll be our primary going forward. We were able to get Lance McConkey. We were able to get Alan Lazard as well. Did I miss anybody?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're a little disappointed that we couldn't get some of the running backs, Nando. But what we got so far, I know we picked up a couple more, but with what we have so far, which one are you most happy that we did get?
Most happy was a new defense. I didn't think
I knew you'd like that one.
I don't know. Miami's strong, but I feel like the Bears will do me more justice, especially like later in the game rather than starting.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Okay, so we did it. We were able to do that, and then we were able to pick up a couple free agents. Well, one of them we for sure have, and then we put a waiver claim in another because we just thought it was weird that he was available. Corey, I know you weren't there when we saw it last night, but you want to break down the other two that we got?
Yeah, well, the Mark Andrews one, is that the one you're talking about? How we?
Yeah, that one, and then the Brown.
Yeah, so Mark Andrews, we didn't anticipate to be on the free agency, and it's kind of weird looking about who drafted him and had that guy. What did we say? He had like 3 tight ends in his first
3
5
tight ends in the first 5 picks.
Yeah, so it didn't really make sense. So understandably, why he released him and kind of maybe gave us a little hidden gem possibly for down the line and later in the season if Brock Bowers doesn't kind of pan out in Vegas. I almost said Oakland. God, I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah.
Instead of Vegas, doesn't pan out because of their quarterback situation. At least it gives us another option as far as that goes. So that'll be good.
True. And then for Hollywood Brown, we relied on receiver help. We did get Lance McConkey, and we got Alan Lazard, who I think is kind of being slept on. I could be wrong. Obviously, he didn't blow up in Green Bay, but having rapport with what's the OC's name?
Nathaniel Hackett. That was where I was.
Nathaniel Hackett, and obviously Aaron Rodgers. As long as he stays healthy, caught a receiver from him and actually from Tyrod Taylor. So I think Garrett Wilson's going to be double covered damn near all the time, and Alan Lazard has some repertoire, I guess, with Aaron Rodgers. So we put that one, but getting the opportunity to get a Chiefs receiver in a year that a lot of people project Patrick Mahomes to be a possible MVP is always a steal. So we went and grabbed Hollywood Brown. He's coming off of a little bit of an injury, but this Chiefs team looks primed and ready to score. They did so pretty, not easily, but pretty well against a stout Ravens defense. So we picked him up too.
Yeah, I think it's a really good decision. I think even if he doesn't play for this week because he's still with the shoulder issue, I think once he is back, you have Xavier Worthy taking off the top, and then if they get, you have Kelsey. So there's plenty of weapons, and if those guys are going to get doubled like we think they are, then hopefully Hollywood Brown kind of gives us that third option that kind of takes off here week to week, and maybe depending on matchups, we'll have to keep an eye on it. But overall, I think it's a good thing to add him in there.
Yeah, we're just rough with this Davante Adams. Davante Adams is arguably one of the top 5 most talented receivers in the league. He just happens to play for Nando's favorite team, which sucks right now. It's not technically his fault. He can't throw the ball himself. You know what I mean? So,
Hey,
yeah. Sorry, Nando.
you know what else though? I did find out something recently. Our punishment.
There's a punishment for last place.
Oh,
last place.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna get there at all. But
I hope not.
There's 3 choices I could have picked from.
Okay.
Reading from the text here, it says, place a license plate cover that reads, I suck at fantasy football.
Nice.
On our daily driving vehicle for the rest of the football season till next fantasy football season.
So you get pulled over? Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Stand at a major intersection in the city the player resides in wearing a t-shirt that reads, I suck at fantasy football.
Nice.
A pink tutu and high heels.
Oh.
Ooh, fun. I think you should have a sign instead of just a t-shirt, but fine.
And the player
like
will need to provide a league of photo of them standing at this intersection.
Perfect. Good. Agree.
And or the last one, which I don't think I can provide.
How long do you
how long do you have to stand there? It should be at least an hour.
No, it has no time base.
Oh, that one's easy. I'm doing that one, taking a picture and leaving.
30 seconds, boom. So
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last one, I don't think I can do this one. At the closing ceremony, the last place player will have to buy 2 rounds of drinks for the whole team.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that, so I guess it's kind of hard.
I chose the easiest part of the ladder because I was a theater kid, so I chose to wear the shirt and the tutu and heels.
You fucking would pick shirt and tutu, and you just wanted to wear the tutu and heels. Don't lie, Nando.
I've done it already.
Oh, I bet you have.
Like we said, there's no time limit in there that says an hour or anything. So if it's 2
Yeah,
minutes,
true.
take a
Just
picture.
says stand at an intersection.
No, that's a good point. That's true. Okay, well, I mean, so far what we think, let's show this week 2 matchup. Speaking of last place, we think that this guy kind of might hopefully be the guy that comes in last place. We're hoping that we can get our first win this week. He has Christian McCaffrey, who might play or who might not play, because the Niners like to keep secrets, even though no one feels like investigating that for some reason.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. But, yeah, I mean, I think we might have a good chance this week. Even if Christian goes, his team looks not great. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, no, overall, I mean, his Kirk Cousins and Bryce Young are your two quarterbacks. That's just a
That's rough.
master quarterback room for a fantasy team at this year. And yeah, looking at the rest of the team, not a whole lot to worry about. Dallas defense against New Orleans, that might be like the
Maybe.
positive there. But other than that,
Yeah.
yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. I feel good about this matchup better than I did last week, but also
Yes.
week 1, you never know what you're going to get with week 2 at least. But hey, question, if you end up in last, you're the only one that has to do the punishment, right? We're not.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
No, you guys
you said
signed the
it's your
contract.
team. You did say it's your team, so I'm just,
Yeah, you keep correcting me. You keep saying it's not our fantasy team. It must be yours. So
No,
you must
no,
take the.
You guys signed the
it's ours.
papers, you know.
Now it's our team. Okay.
That's a good question, Corey. I like that. That's good. Yeah. How about this? I'll be the one to take the picture of you on the intersection. if that
Okay,
happens.
okay.
And I'll take the
okay.
video. So we got,
All right.
There wasn't a video requirement there.
Well, that's okay. We need Corey to do something.
yeah. We'll give you a newspaper with the date and the whole 9 yards.
All right. So, yeah. So thank you, Nando, for joining us, for stepping back in real quick so we can update this. So this is what we're going into week 2. Make sure you catch our episode where we kind of cover what happened in week 2, see if we have any other new waiver wire pickups. Most of the time, those release Monday or Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Again, hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Any parting words, Nando, before we end this break?
No, just some peace, love, and positivity.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. We will see you in a couple days. Thank you very much, Corey, Brendan, and Nando, for that update. Back to the news. All right. Next game, Patriots-Bengals. 16-10. Patriots go into Cincinnati and not only shock Cincinnati, but honestly shock the world. This was a guaranteed win for the Bengals. They got the nice start, 1-0. Let's get this season back under the thing. Like you said, probably a lot of those suicide leagues. This is the team that people are picking this week, and they fucking blew it.
I don't even know. It's weird. It feels like since Burrow's been there, the Bengals tend to get off to like a slow start. 0-2,
Yeah.
1-3.
They're bad with the first 2 weeks. There's
Yeah, the
stats
first-
around that. Yeah.
Yeah, the first 2-3 weeks they're trying to figure themselves out, and Burrow coming off the injury, I guess, is part of that possibly. But
Maybe
I
he's
don't know. I
still
just don't know
hurt.
how you let the Patriots with did Jacoby Brissett play quarterback? Is that who they went with?
Yeah.
at this
Mhm.
point? Like
Yeah.
Brissett's a decent quarterback as far as a backup.
Good
coach.
backup.
But man, yeah, they come into. It's not even like you went to New England and it was bad weather and like you just had a bad day. Like they come into your house on opening day and you let them get Gerard Mayo's first win as a coach. I don't even know how that happens if you're Cincinnati.
I don't even think Patriots fans were expecting that. I think they were like, okay, we'll start 0-1, but I think week 2 we're gonna get like, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of where they were going, and it just didn't turn out that way. Burrow did not look good. I think they said of plays of more than 10 air yards, he was 1 of 8 for 4 yards, like after the 10 or something like that. And it was just, it's bad. He can't throw it past like damn near the first down marker. If it's like let's just say first down, like first and 10, he can't throw it past the first down marker. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the actual injury is. There's video footage of him barely being able to pick up a water bottle after he flexes his wrist and kind of messing with it. He reaches down to go pick up a water bottle and needs to re-catch it because it's about to slip out of his hand. If he can't hold a bottle of water, is he throwing a football 60 yards? Like,
and if he is, it's not going to be good. It's going to be wobbly and easily. That's not good. Especially if they're only the first week. If we're already having this issue, like
it's bad.
The Bengals all come down to Burrow. If he's healthy,
1,000%,
he'll be good. If he's not healthy or cannot play or be himself, then they're not going to be.
What were you
good.
saying? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
That's
Okay. Next, this is your division, my friend. Texans Colts. This is actually probably one of the best games of the week, be honest with you. A 29-27 Texans victory. I told you the Colts were going to be good. Did I not? Did I not say that Anthony Richardson, having Shane Steichen as his head coach / offensive coordinator, might be able to do something? And he put this Texans team, who put a whooping on the Browns in the first round of the playoffs last year, put them on notice. A 2-point win for the Texans, who were probably favored by a lot more than that. I told you the Colts were good, man.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I mean, Anthony Richardson did a lot of good things. They obviously scored a lot of points, but ultimately they still lost. So that's all I'm really worried about and concerned because, like you said, in the AFC South, if we're going to have a shot at anything, we need at least at least Jacksonville and Indy to be bad because I think Houston's the crown jewel of the division anyway. So if we're going to have a shot at wild card, those other two teams got to suck.
Agreed.
the Titans also look really bad. So I don't think it's going to matter no matter what everybody else does if the Titans continue to play.
Yeah. Okay, let me pose it this way to you then. Is it worse? Which one would you rather be? The Bengals losing to the Patriots or the Colts losing to the Texans by 2?
Oh, Colts losing to the Texans for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I mean, hey, to be able to keep up with the Texans, who I think are pretty good. I think the Texans, the Colts are going to be the second best team in this division. That's all.
Yeah, but there's also the scare or injury history of Anthony Richardson. I saw a stat that since like since his senior year of high school, he's only played like 18 games or something. Like he's just
freaking way.
It was definitely under 20 games since like his senior year of high school. So he's had a lot of injuries.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they don't have Gardner Minshew there no more. So if he goes out and gets hurt, I don't know what Indy's going to look like, regardless of who's at quarterback.
Sure. Stephon Diggs scored twice in his debut with the Texans. Joe Mixon looked amazing, like 150 freaking yards and a touchdown. He looked great for that. This team looks really good. So
I think we talked about last year when they were in the playoffs, they were already way ahead of schedule, and now I feel like they've taken that momentum and taken it into this camp in the start of this season. They're coming to play again this year. They're not thinking last year.
They're serious.
Oh, we had a good year, yay! Like no, they're coming determined. I think this year to be even better.
Yep, agreed. Next, boys, Browns. Tom Brady, baby, in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it. It was chill. Sounds great. Love the guy. Big fan. If you don't know, now you know. Huge fan of Tom Brady, my favorite player ever. So pretty cool. Honestly, it's really easy route for the boys. Deshaun looked like the new Deshaun Watson that we've seen ever since he had the allegations and crap with from Houston. So they allowed only 1 first down in the entire first half. The Cowboys did. So they couldn't do shit, bro. It was bad. It was really bad. Did you catch any of this game? It was televised, obviously.
Yeah, I was able to watch. I wanted to check out Brady's first game. I mean, first quarter or so, maybe even the first half, you could tell Brady was nervous and didn't quite know where his spots were because Burkhardt would kind of leave him a spot to say something, and then there was like a little bit of too long of awkward silence, too much crowd noise being allowed. But by the time they got to the fourth and the game got a little more separated, you could tell he was finally starting to feel a little more comfortable and just kind of, speaking freely and not really overthinking it. So, just like anything else, the more he does it, the more repetition, I think he'll get better. So he'll be fine.
He's pretty good at stuff when he tries to.
Exactly. I feel like as far as the Cowboys Browns part, like the Browns, Deshaun Watson, man, you said it I don't know if somebody made a joke of whatever happened when the massage table. It's like Space Jam. They just took his athletic ability.
Facts, bro. That's kind of forward, but I get it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's weird. Like he just hasn't been the same, and now there's another allegation of possibly coming out. So it's a mess, and I don't know if you're the Browns, if he has another game like this week that he did in week 1, do you go to Jameis Winston or do you just still keep throwing Deshaun out there because you paid him more money than any other quarterback ever at the time?
Well, I mean, it's only $230 million guaranteed. I mean, is it that big of a deal, Corey? Like, what's who cares? Like, it's just all of it guaranteed. He's getting every penny that he signed for. Is that because the Browns have just been that bad forever? They just said, fuck it? Or like they just really thought he was going to be the same guy? It was bad.
It's got to be a little bit of both. I mean, we had always that joke of the Tim Couch jersey with the names taped on the back of it that the Browns fans have. So like, of course they don't want to have a bad quarterback situation. They thought maybe Deshaun would be the guy. They gave him the money. They traded for him. And then they gave up on Baker Mayfield maybe too early too, which is a weird thing to say now looking back at the time. But
well, that's what I was about to say. One of those names that's above Deshaun on that long list of quarterbacks is Baker Mayfield. Let's just talk about what Baker's done and what Deshaun has done since this kind of it wasn't a trade, obviously, per se. They didn't trade for each other, but since the acquisition and Baker has since left, let's run this down. Baker Mayfield has accounted for 44 total touchdowns. Obviously, he can run a little bit too. Deshaun Watson, 17. Nice. All right. Baker Mayfield has thrown 18 interceptions, but when you've got 44 total touchdowns, that's not that bad. Deshaun, 11. He's only 6 away from being even. That's like some freaking Jameis Winston territory.
Yes, very much so.
Baker Mayfield's thrown for 6,500 yards. Deshaun Watson, 2,400. Fantastic. He's doing great. He's only 4,000 yards behind, so he's really close. Baker Mayfield, 90.9 passer rating. Pretty good, actually. Deshaun Watson, 78.1. Not so great. 63% completion percentage for Baker Mayfield. Deshaun Watson, 59%. And Baker Mayfield is 1-1 in the playoffs, which actually pushed the Lions to like a last second. I give him props. They beat the Eagles and then pushed the Lions really late. Deshaun Watson has not played in a playoff game for the Browns since he's been here because he's never on the field. Seems like a great trade-off to me, Corey. What do you think? Browns are winning, right?
Man, the Browns,
Ouch.
the Browns. It's it all comes back down to ownership. Like if the ownership is bad and doesn't have their shit together, then the rest of the organization going down is going to continue to be the same way. So it's kind of like the Angels. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, that is the definition of insanity. So I don't know what the Browns expect.
True. Another owner that's too involved, and we don't think necessarily runs it well, but it's running it better than he runs the Browns. Jerry Jones decided to cough it up right before this game started. Obviously referencing the quarterback that he was about to beat, giving Dak 4 years, $240 million with $231 guaranteed. Yes, $1 million more than Deshaun Watson because that's how petty people in the NFL are. I need to get paid more than that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dak got paid 4 years, basically $60 million a year, $80 million signing bonus, and 231 of this 240 guaranteed. I'd ask you if he's worth it, but I know the answer is no. So, but it's one of those things where if you have a quarterback in the NFL, you have to do this, right? I mean, what else?
Yeah.
Who are they going to play instead?
Exactly, because if they play him all year and they're very good, they won't have a high draft pick to then replace him when he leaves. So, and you can't franchise him anymore because you already did that. So you're not allowed to do that to him anymore. So you either pay him now because you have a quarterback who, even though his playoff record is not great or numbers are not fantastic, he does at least get you there and give you a shot. So you got to pay him instead of going bargain hunting in the bin next year and letting him walk away for nothing. So I get it. It's weird that they announced it 2 hours before the week 1 game. Kind of a weird way to do that, but maybe it was just a formality. They had most of it done weeks ago, and it's just, cross the T's, dot the I's, and get it signed.
Yeah, true. Could be that. Decent game. Cowboys look good. Browns look like trash. But, now CD and Dak are paid. Mike is on deck. That's all I know.
Yep.
Next, and finally, Rams-Lions, rounding out Sunday Night Football. We know there was a Monday night game, but we don't really like those teams, so who cares? And it was a boring game anyways. Rams-Lions, 26-20 in overtime. Good old – I know they did it last year in the division game, or was it the wild card game? But, Rams visiting, Matthew Stafford making his way back to Detroit. Another close game, not as close as the other one. It was 23-24, I believe the Lions won in the playoffs. So 26-20 with a Montgomery touchdown in overtime. That last drive looked easy. They literally just handed the ball to Montgomery like 6 times, and he just ran it for 10 yards every time and then finally scored a touchdown. So, but the Rams still looked pretty solid, to be honest with you, with a really young defense. Kupp looks good.
Not only did they look good with Kupp being, his old self again, but they had, I think, half of their offensive line wasn't the original line that they started with for the game.
Yeah. Everybody was getting hurt.
Puka Nacua left in the first quarter because he re-aggravated. Now he's on the IR for 4 weeks at least.
Yep.
Like you said, their defense is very young, so they're still learning. But with the new defensive coordinator, obviously they figured some things out. Jared Verse is a really good first-round pick, and he is going to be really good when it's all said and done.
He's not Aaron Donald, but holy shit, is it a decent start? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and with him and Kobe Turner, it's like, hey, pick your poison. Well, somebody's going to get doubled and opportunities for others. So I think
looks really good.
The Rams are going to be fine as long as Stafford can stay healthy. The offensive line's just got to keep him upright, which they already signed a guy today from, I think, the Philly Eagles practice squad who was on the team.
They know how to do stuff in offensive lines there. That's for sure.
Yeah. So the Rams will be fine. I think they can still win 10 games and make the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, losing to Detroit like the way they did, that's definitely something you can hang your hat on because Stafford was getting beat up, but he had such a great game that he kept them in it.
Yeah, dude, Aiden Hutchinson. I was literally I was watching with my wife, and I was literally telling her, I was like, watch 97. He whatever he wants to do, he's gonna do it. There's nobody that is stopping Aiden Hutchinson tonight, and nobody could. They had I forgot the guy. They had a left tackle that was doing a decent job, but he was one of the first guys that got hurt, to your point. And the guy that came in afterwards was just like me standing there, bro. It's just like, oh, hey, just high five on the way to Matt Stafford. Hey, buddy, go get him. Yeah, so it looked pretty good for what they had to deal with. Puka being out is a little bit tough, but Kupp looks fucking back to form now. That was great.
Yes.
Last little thing I want to note here. It's not necessarily on here, but I want to bring it up. We won't spend a ton of time on it because it's still kind of being, looked at. But the Tyreek Hill thing before the game, he's mentioned that he didn't really like the way he was treated. He's also mentioned that he thinks he could have done things better. From an outside perspective, I don't know all the details, but from the video that I've seen, I think both sides could have done things better. But I would put probably 60 to 80% of the blame on the police. They were being a little bit extra. Maybe Tyreek didn't roll down the window like they asked, or maybe he could have done better. I'll note those things. But there was one of the officers that was just being a complete douchebag.
Yeah.
They were being really rough for no fucking reason. They're asking him to do all these things immediately. Like he mentioned when he was they were asking him to stand. He's like, dude, I just had surgery on this knee, bro. Like, can you chill? You know what I mean? Like, my livelihood depends on my body. Don't fuck me up. So
Also,
yeah.
From the police perspective, like you're doing duty outside the stadium. You see a guy pull up in whatever kind
a
of
Lamborghini or a McLaren, yeah,
whatever expensive car it was. I don't know cars. That's your categories. But you see a guy pull up in that, and you pull him over. Like, you kind of got to think like this might be a player. Like,
there's a lot of money in Miami, but still,
yeah, but why would they be driving that car at this particular location?
To the state, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then if you see him open the car a window and he gives you the ID, I don't think legally I don't know the rules in Florida, but I don't think they technically have to leave the window down if you don't want to.
I think you're right.
He gave him his ID, and then to rip the door open, which is not the typical door again because it's a super expensive car, so it rips up. It's like suicide doors, and then they just take him out. And again, you mentioned he just had surgery. They're trying to make him sit down. It's like you could ask him to get out of the car and open the door. That's one thing, even though you shouldn't have done it that way. You did it, but then to physically pull him out, and you're right, that one cop just total power trip.
Ridiculous.
Dude,
yeah,
just relax, man. The one cop was about to let Calais Campbell or the other guy go, and the one cop,
give me your ID. Give me your ID. First of all, that's not how it works, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't committed a crime. You can kick rocks.
Yes, yeah. And again, it's not an easy job. I get it, but
no.
yeah,
I'm not taking sides. I just could have been better.
Parties could have done things a little differently, but I'm with you. I think there was more on the cops. Just like, calm down, man. If anything, maybe you get his ID and you get him, and he's still in the car, and you can radio him like, "Hey, does anybody know who this is? If this is a player that's trying to get to the stadium, somebody can confirm it, and then we can try to move past it and not make it this big ordeal in the first place." But
yeah, and from what I heard, they pulled him over for a seatbelt. Give him a fucking ticket and let him go. Shit.
Question: how could you even see if he had the seatbelt on that window?
Bro, you can't see in that damn car. Thank you.
So you're lying. You did not see him not wearing a seatbelt through the window. Give me a break.
It's just bullshit. Yeah,
that was
just bullshit.
To pull him.
Agreed. Again, neither of us are taking sides. We do think both parties could have done things better. But if I think anybody needed to do things more better, I'm putting it on Miami PD because that was a little extra, like you said.
Especially because you mentioned the one cop was going too hard. The other cop was trying to kind of calm things down.
Yes, the guy who was actually wearing the cam.
Yeah, but the other guy just wasn't letting it happen. You could tell he was like, well, I can't get him to stop, so I guess he's going to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. Not so great, but
just a weird situation.
Yeah, wanted to throw it out there. Obviously, we saw it. We want to give our little quick opinion on it, but yeah, the game itself was pretty boring. Game-winning field goal for the Dolphins, so yeah, good for them. Anyways, let us know down in the comments below if your team is starting off on the right foot or if they're in the good old 0-1 section with me and Corey. Also, what was your favorite storyline from week 1, or did we miss one that we should have talked about? Let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you as always, though, for stopping by and seeing things from RV from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.